Since Alessandro Michele became the creative director for the company Gucci, we've seen the introduction of some new fragrances, including Gucci Guilty Oud for men and for women, both of which I actually really enjoy, made by perfumer Alberto Morillas. Here with his creative direction, we have a brand new fragrance from Gucci. This one is called Memoire d'une Odeur. I'm excited to tell you what I think of this one, so make sure to stay tuned. So if you're new to this channel, I would love it if you could support this channel by clicking the red subscribe button, but of course wait until the end of the video to see if you took something of value from this video. If you did, I would absolutely love your subscription, but please allow me to provide value first. So this fragrance was released in 2019. The perfumer for this is Alberto Morillas, and the creative director, of course, as I mentioned earlier on in the video, is Alessandro Michele. Before him was Frida Giannini, and then way back when was Tom Ford, and that's when a lot of people were really enjoying some of their creations like Gucci Pour Homme 1, and the list can go on and on. So this one was actually inspired by an antique, or a vintage, I should say, Gucci bottle that was discovered by Alessandro Michele, and it's supposed to represent a vintage column, kind of like a Greek column that you would find in the Parthenon. And this one, the name translates to memory of a scent. So this is kind of inspired, or it harkens back to some of the fragrances from like the 80s, the clean white florals. And the face of the advertising campaign is, of course, British singer and songwriter Harry Styles. And this one has a clean white floral feel on account of the note of jasmine, but it also contains a note of Roman chamomile, which Alessandro Michele pretty much insisted upon including that note in the fragrance. So I'm really excited to tell you what I get from the smell. Let's go ahead and start things off by taking a very quick and close look at the presentation. So the box for this fragrance has the star motif on it, and it has the name of the fragrance and the company here on the front. The back just has the ingredients as well as the website of the company. The bottle for this one is also nice. It has a gold cap, the name of the fragrance and the company on the front, and it also has a transparent look with a light green color. This fragrance does have a pressurized atomizer, so the distribution on the atomizer is really good. You can control how much you want to spray. Let's continue with the smell. So as soon as this fragrance opens up, you are going to get a burst of clean white florals. My nose picks up on a little bit of jasmine. I'm not sure if jasmine is listed in the note breakdown. It's actually been a while since I've looked at the note breakdown, and I purchased this on a recent trip or a recent holiday that I took to Canada. I definitely pick up on a little bit of jasmine, but it's not indolic in any way, so it doesn't smell like a barnyard. It's clean, it's very wearable, and it kind of reminds me of like the CK1 era. So this is a bit like Atado Chrome or CK1 in the sense that it's a very clean sort of understated white floral, and it's not bombastic. It doesn't really steal the spotlight or anything like that, and it's not indolic like I mentioned. It does have a note of chamomile in here, although when I smell the fragrance it doesn't really smell like chamomile to me. I trust in the creative director and the perfumer that that note is included in the blend, but for frame of reference, for example, a fragrance that kind of reminds me of chamomile is Habdan by Parfum de Marly. This one doesn't remind me of chamomile in any way, but there is something about it that's kind of grounding and meditative. As it starts to dry down, you get the musky component that starts to come through. It's not a very heavy musk, and it's a musk that I'm not anosmic to, so I actually do pick up a little bit on it, but it's a musk that I think is made available in the composition on account of some synthetic musk notes. Who knows if it's ambretolide, or I'm really not sure. I haven't looked at a lab analysis of the fragrance, nor do I have the means by which I can look at one. And then I also pick up on a little bit of vanilla in the base as well. However, this is not gourmand in any way. There's just a pinch of vanilla to add a little bit of character and to open up the scent a little bit, make it a little bit more billowy. But it doesn't necessarily smell like a gourmand. It doesn't smell like a creamsicle or anything like that. Mostly what you're going to get from this fragrance is a clean white floral, but it kind of goes in its own direction. It doesn't smell exactly like CK1. I know I mentioned CK1 earlier, but this one kind of goes in its own direction, and I really appreciate for that. Now, my full disclosure is I was never a fan of those types of fragrances. I personally used to own CK1 back in the day, but it's one that once I, ran out of my bottle when I was like a teenager, I never repurchased it because I was never really thrilled by it. So these types of scents are not ones that cater to my personal taste, but if you're a fan of some of the clean white floral fragrances out there, this is one that you might actually really enjoy. So the longevity on this one, just to comment on it before I get into my overall assessment, I found that this one lasted on my skin for a pretty decent amount of time, but I also did apply this one on my shirt. So I figured that whenever I put it on my clothing, it typically lingers a little bit longer. When I put it on my skin. However, this one lasted for maybe 4 to 5 hours. So the longevity is okay, but it's not decent given the concentration of this one because this one is an eau de parfum. All in all, I really enjoyed the scent. I actually had my friend Chad try this one as well, and he enjoyed it. He actually wanted me to decant it, but it has a pressurized atomizer, so his Trevallo atomizer didn't work on it. And then I had my wife smell this one as well. She said it's not something that she would wear, but she wouldn't mind if I wore it. It also wasn't something that really wowed her or, blew her mind or anything like that. But ultimately, it is a decent scent. It's very sort of casual. It's the type of fragrance you want to wear when you just want to smell good, but you want to sort of prolong that feeling of smelling good maybe once you exit the shower. It doesn't necessarily smell something like something that's going to get people's attention. It doesn't have woods or resins or anything like that in here. It's basically a clean, soapy, white floral scent. So take of that what you will, and let's go ahead and finish things off with my overall assessment. So first up, in terms of the uniqueness and the overall smell, I actually do find this one to be a unique fragrance, despite the fact that I was able to connect it to some other fragrances that I've smelled before, namely CK1 by Calvin Klein. It sort of just has this clean, white, soapy, floral scent on account of the note of jasmine, and it is unique despite that, and I think it kind of has its own olfactory landscape, and it's a very smooth and polished olfactory landscape. It's not really a rugged terrain, and if you smell it, you'll see what I mean, whereas all of the notes in this composition sort of intertwine into one another in a very sort of smooth and uniform way, and I think they basically did what they were going for. They wanted to create a scent that harkened back, a memory of a scent that harkened back to some of the clean, white, soapy, understated florals, and I think they pretty much produced that to a T. In terms of the longevity, I got about 4 to 5 hours with this one, so some might say that's a bit subpar or below average for an eau de parfum strength fragrance, and I typically apply this one rather liberally, so I wore this one for like 4 days in a row, and that's actually how much I wore of this one. So I do like 20 sprays with this one, no joke, and I'm still getting like 4 to 5 hours longevity. Projection on this one was actually pretty good for the first hour and a half to 2 hours. It really did radiate off the skin, never beyond an arm's length though, and I feel as though around the 3.5 to 4 hour mark, it did start to sit a little bit closer to the skin, kind of becoming a skin scent, and then at like the 6 or 7 hour mark, it was pretty much imperceptible. And then in terms of the versatility, I do find this one to be a versatile scent, but I wouldn't really wear this one formally because you really want to wear something that's going to stand out, something that's going to make a bold impression, not something sort of understated. And I would wear this one in the hotter weather. I wouldn't wear this one in the fall or winter just because none of the ingredients in here sort of evoke the colder weather, but I also don't think it's going to stand a chance in the colder climates. So I can see anybody of any age wearing this one. I can see anybody of any sex wearing this one, and this is also marketed as a genderless perfume, so there you go. And then lastly, in terms of the presentation is kind of nice. It has a bit of a retro feel. I do like the shape of the bottle, but it kind of reminds me of like Aspen by Coty or some of the older fragrances that have a very similar performance to them. And at times, if it weren't for a slimmed out waist, it kind of reminds me of Youth Dew by Estee Lauder, but all in all, I digress. Final verdict on this one is I do like the smell, but it's not one of my favorites, and I don't think it's necessarily a fragrance that I would repurchase just because it doesn't cater to my personal taste. If you're a fan of the clean, white, soapy floral fragrances, especially those that are unisex and sort of gender bender, then you might like this one, but as far as it caters to my personal taste, again, this isn't my style of fragrance. There are plenty in the Alchemist Garden that I absolutely love. I also love Gucci Guilty Oud, and believe it or not, I also really enjoy Gucci Guilty Black because it does have a presence despite the fact that it's a bit on the softer side. But ultimately, this is one where if what I said and some of the notes that I described and the way that this sort of unfolds on your skin, if that resonates with you, definitely go out there, try it for yourself, and see if you like it. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in. That was my review of Memoire d'une Odeur by Gucci. If you own or have tried this fragrance, please let me know what you think. Leave a comment down below. And also, as specified in the title of the video, there is going to be a giveaway attached to this video. All you need to do is leave a comment down below and let me know what is your favorite Gucci fragrance. And if you don't have one, just tell me you don't have one. That's all you need to do to enter the giveaway. And the winner is going to win a bunch of samples in addition to a 5 milliliter decant of this fragrance. Thanks again for watching. If you're new to this channel and you took something of value from this video, I would really appreciate your support. It's easy and it's free. All you need to do is click that red subscribe button in the corner. And this way, whenever I do upload future fragrance related content, it will get delivered straight to your feed. You never need to worry about missing any of my future uploads. And that includes fragrance reviews just like this, giveaways, unboxings, top 10s, interviews, special guests, and a whole lot more. Thanks again for watching. I love you guys, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.